Hello everybody and welcome back to another Zwift racing video. Today we have got the fine and sandy course in Urukazi. Now this course is 13.2 miles long, 510 foot worth of elevation, and the point of interest here are the two little incline kickers per lap, which actually make it quite a painful loop, but actually a very enjoyable course. Now, as you know, I'm a mid-cap B racer. This was a pretty good race for me. But I also wanted to talk about the differences between the EVO CC races and the Zwift Racing League, because there are a few differences which I think make the EVO races slightly easier, but still as enjoyable. Now, I've also been thinking about what I would suggest to be improvements to the Zwift Racing League. Now, this series is already a very, very good series. However, I think there could be a few changes that would make it even better. One final word before I start the commentary, just want to say thanks very much for all you new subscribers and existing subscribers out there. It's great to have you along. And for anyone that's new, really appreciate a subscribe, a like or a comment. So after a relatively fast start to the race, we come up to the first incline kicker. So this for me was a case of just, well, as per normal, staying with the front group for as long as I possibly can. Now, I'm pretty good on these short little sort of ramps, so I wasn't too worried on this first one, but I just wanted to gauge it to see how I'd be feeling, you know, towards the end. I didn't actually realise at this point I'd be going sort of through this loop 4 times over the course of the race. But after the first one, you can see a little bit of a separation already. But I have made it to the top, relatively unscathed, feeling pretty good. Now, my first talking point today is around the differences between ZRL and the EVO CC Race Series. And as you can see on screen, I've called out 3 points that I think makes the Zwift Racing League much harder than any EVO event. So the mid-event sprints / KOM, fastest through, first across the line points, that really knackers me out. And unless you're, I would say, a very, very decent sprinter and you can recover easily, it's what makes it harder than any other event. Now, obviously, you've got the team tactics in the Zwift Racing League, and, you know, the obvious other third point is it's a league format, whereas these races are just, you know, every day pretty much. So you normally get quite a wide range of ability, even though you're perhaps in the same category. Now, my second talking point is what I think would make the Zwift Racing League better, and I'd be interested to hear what you think of my suggestions. I think plus categories for those at the top of their league would be good. Proper GC standings with jerseys, you know, individual GC, sprint, KOM, that would make it really interesting. A small rollout at the start, neutral zone at the start of the race, and a wider variety of course choice. But be interested to hear what you think. Please leave a comment below. Still on the first lap here to the second kicker. I knew what was coming this time, so I was a bit better prepared. I had an aero, which was good. I dropped that. And once again, pretty happy that I'm staying with the front group here, although I can kind of tell that this is going to kick off later on in the race. I'm having to put down a considerable amount of watts here as well, like 5.7 watts per kilogram. And I just didn't want this little front group to get away, although I sort of had in the back of my head that the back group was still big enough to be able to catch this front group. So yeah, luckily no splits here, survived this one. I'm thinking, right, I've got 2 more of those to go, which I know is going to be painful, but I kind of think I've got that. I think I can do that a couple more times. Heart rate's pretty high, but now is a good time to sit back and recover. And this was kind of a race of 2 halves, really. You had the kicker sort of 4 times, and you had this other little bit here where it was reasonably flat and not much happened, to be honest with you. As you can see, like a couple of the other racers managed to get onto the tail of this front group. So, you know, good for them, because that is always a difficult push. But yeah, it did give me a chance here to sit back and recover. Heart rate's back down to, you know, 140s, 150s, which is good. So I'm feeling relatively comfortable at this point from quite a large field, I would say. Now, I absolutely love a little bit of bouncer in races, so I quite like seeing the little comments pop up. So as you can see, Brendan has messaged there saying, don't let them split us on the next ramp, which I quite like, because it does put in that element of, you know, there's a team there. I'm not sure if it was the EVO team, and there you go, a little response there, us, what, no. So I quite enjoy that little bit of banter. As we come up now to the next little incline, so this is the 3rd out of 4th time I'm going to be doing this today, and I think this is probably the one in my head, I'm thinking this is going to be the one that's going to be the most difficult. I didn't manage to get any sort of power up this time, so I need to make sure I put a few more watts down than I normally would and stay at the front of the group for as long as I possibly can. So yeah, I'm really, once again, kicking out some watts here, trying to just manage my effort. There's a few that have gone off the front there, and it's quite difficult because you've got some of the other cat riders that we're going past at this time. So I'm just focusing on staying with the bunch here. And once again, you know, pretty good, quite happy with that. Not too knackered as well, 173 heart rate. So yeah, back with the front group. I think we've sort of lost a couple of other riders as well, so we've strung out this group a little bit. And I know I've only got one more of those to go, so now's the chance, as you can see, as we come just back down the hill, for me to recover, try and get my heart rate in a pretty good position. I was sort of doing what I've been advised with the cadence this time, so I was trying to spin up as much as I possibly could when we were on sort of the flat or the decline, and then I was trying to keep it between 70 and 80 for the remainder of the race, which seemed to work quite well, to be honest with you. Sort of no drama, no stress here. As we come up to the final little ramp here then, so once again, I am feeling reasonably confident. I've got a feather, which was good, but I kind of make a little bit of a mistake here now. I normally have my my Apple TV remote right next to me when I'm doing these races, so I can click the power up button pretty quickly. I normally press the play button on the Apple TV remote, which actually does the power up for you. But here I'm kind of not really too focused on that. I'm sort of just trying to keep with the group. I should definitely have my remote in my hand, because a few of the feathers have been popped off there, and I'm about 2 or 3 seconds late in doing that, which is a bit annoying because I lose a little bit of momentum, and I'm now having to really put in the effort, like 500, 600 watts, which is a little bit more for me. Stood up here, these 600 watts though got me back in it really quite quickly, so I was pretty happy with that. I'm thinking I can only hold this for a very short amount of time though, so one has gone off the front, and I hope soon that Zwift have a look at the race dynamics, because that rider's obviously made an attempt for a breakaway, and just when the pack comes back together, it's so difficult to hold it off. So it would be good if at some point that is looked at, but I know Zwift are pretty good at those sort of things. So yeah, made it to the top again in the front group, and I know now I've got 1.2 miles to sit in, recover, and try and prepare myself for the final sprint, because I know I've made it here with the front group. So, in terms of what I was looking to do, I'm happy with that. I've made it to the end with the front group. I don't think there's going to be another little split or a breakaway. Then my sprint isn't too bad, but kind of my heart rate where it is at the moment at 175, I have used quite a lot of energy. As we run it on here, still a mile to go. I need to recover as best I can, because I know there's going to be some good sprinters in this field. I know I can hold 700 watts for maybe like 10, 15 seconds at the end of these sort of races. But yeah, not managed to get the recovery I wanted. My heart rate still quite high, but I was going to give it everything. I was going to give it absolutely everything. My goal was to finish in the top 15 of this race in my own head. Top 10 would be amazing. And I know with 0.2 of a mile to go, I'm going to look to get into my sprint position and to try and kick it off. So as you can see here, we're coming up to the final little part of the race. Just trying to draft here, just keeping my eye on any other power or anyone else's power on the right hand side. Should get in my sprint position in just a second. 0.3 miles to go, couple of power ups going, and sort of towards the front, gets to 0.2, and I go. I'm doing the best I literally can here, but yeah, cadence isn't quite as high as I would like it. Normally sort of up near the hundreds. 98's not too bad, I suppose. And I've just got nothing left, so I'm just trying to hang on the best I can here. Everyone else is trying to get past me. And I make it into 9th position, which I was absolutely over the moon with. Yeah, perhaps if I timed my sprint a bit better, I could have got a better place. Zwift power results, so I had a pretty good normalised power, 294. So I'm happy with that. Weight's been coming down a lot as well, so, you know, I'm trying to get into the best shape I possibly can. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.